Good morning. We will begin our service with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your cell phones and listen quietly, as the sounding of the concho is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Thank you.
Namandam, 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 namandam.
Once again, good morning. Welcome to the 38th Annual Ellison Onizuka and the Space Shuttle Challenger Memorial Service. A special aloha to NASA astronaut Colonel Michael Fincke, who is zooming in to be our guest speaker, as well as to Claude Onizuka, Shirley Matsuoka, Cheryl Marshall, and all other members of the Onizuka family in attendance today. 38 years ago today, on January 28, 1986, Kona native Ellison Onizuka and 6 other astronauts perished 73 seconds after the Shuttle Challenger was launched. The whole world mourned this tragedy, but our community in Sangha was especially heartbroken because Ellison was born and raised in Kona and was spiritually nourished right here at Kona Hongwanji Buddhist Temple. Let us never forget how Ellison pursued and achieved his dreams and brought honor and pride to his hometown and state. He soared in space, and though no longer here on this earth, he leaves a legacy for both young and old to follow. I am Melissa Tagawa, and I will serve as your MC today. Assisting at the temple with technical support are Lynn Katayama, Joey Guzman, and Wendy Tirada. Corinne Chong is our organist, and Betty Takioka will lead the singing. Please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and Tisarana led by Reverend Brain. Please sing both the Pali and English parts together with Reverend Blaine. Those of you on Zoom, be sure you have your mics muted.
Bhagavato Arahato Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Please remain standing for an aspiration which will be shared by Reverend Blaine.
Please join me in Gasho. As we gather to remember Ellison Onizuka and the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger, we reflect upon the spirit of discovery and wonder with which they lived. We reflect upon the values of courage and sacrifice and the power of imagination and hope to transform our world. We take to heart his words to future generations on how to make a difference. They are the adventurists, the explorers, the doers of this world. When they see a wrong or problem, they do something about it. When they see a vacant space in our knowledge, they work to fill that void. Rather than leaning back and criticizing how things are, they work to make things the way they should be. They are the aggressive, the self-starter, the innovative, and the imaginative of this world. Whether we journey through the stars or into our own hearts and minds, we should always strive to live with a sense of curiosity, awe, and responsibility. This is what Ellison Onizuka continues to teach us all these many years since his birth in the Pure Land. May we always take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows us the way in this life, the Dharma, the way of understanding and love, and the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. In trusting in the Buddha of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion, we call the honored name in gratitude, joy, and awareness. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. First, we invite Claude Onizuka and any other family members and relatives in attendance to please come up and offer incense, followed by Sangha members in the front rows moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. Let us now observe a moment of silent meditation.
Namanam, 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 namanam.
Reverend Blaine will lead us in the chanting the sutra, Gasho to Amida. Words can be found on the laminated handouts in the back of the pews and on your screen.
Composed by the Reverend Kenru Suji, Gasho Tomida is a hymn that praises the Buddha of infinite light and life and celebrates the activity of great compassion which sustains our lives. This hymn reminds us that we should humbly approach life with our palms pressed together in reverence, gratitude, and joy. We chant these words so that we may hear the Dharma and awaken to the virtues of the Buddha. May our voices together express our profound gratitude and appreciation for the Buddha's great benevolence. Namo Amida Butsu. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I gasho to Amida. Trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I gasho to Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seed sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I gasho to Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds, their songs all praise Amida. I join them in butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I ga shotu amida. Nembutsu in work and play. Every day with amida. Every moment filled with light. I ga shotu amida. Remember the golden chain, kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I ga shotu amina. In the clear, bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night, I ga shotu amina. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I ga shotu amida. The virtue of Amina's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namanab, 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 namanab.
Please rise for the Gatha, Homeward I Go. Words can be found on the handouts and on your screen. Please be seated. This morning, thanks to the efforts of Claude Onizuka, we are once again honored to have as our guest speaker our favorite NASA astronaut, Edward Michael Mike Fink, Colonel U.S. Air Force, retired. Born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on March 14, 1967, Colonel Michael Fink actually considers its suburb Emsworth to be his hometown. Thank you. Upon graduation from Sewickley Academy, Colonel Fink attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in 1989. Just 1 year later, he earned his first, yes, first, Master's of Science degree from Stanford University. In 2001, he earned his second master's degree from the University of Houston Clear Lake. His areas of study included aeronautics and astronautics, Earth, atmospheric and planetary sciences, and planetary geology. When Colonel Fink graduated from MIT in 1989, he immediately entered a Russian summer exchange program with the Moscow Aviation Institute and studied cosmonautics. In 1990, Colonel Fink joined the United States Air Force, where he spent much of his career as a space systems engineer and space test engineer, logging in over 1,900 flight hours and in more than 30 different aircraft types. In 1996, Colonel Fink was selected by NASA to become an astronaut. After training for 2 years, Colonel Fink was assigned to serve as an International Space Station Capsule Communicator, also known as CAPCOM. In 2015, he was named Assistant to the Chief for Commercial Crew in the Astronaut Office at NASA's Johnson Space Center. Colonel Fink's space flight experience spans 3 missions: Expedition 9 in 2004 and Expedition 18 in 2009, both launching from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan aboard Russian Soyuz spacecraft. In 2011, Colonel Fink embarked on the STS-124 mission, marked as the final flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour. Colonel Fink has spent a total of 381 days, 15 hours, and 11 minutes in orbit and logged 48 hours and 37 minutes of EVA, or extravehicular activity, time on a total of 9 spacewalks. He ranks 6th among American astronauts for the most time in space and 40th overall. In September 2022, NASA announced Colonel Fink would fly on the Boeing CST-100, Starliner's first operational mission. In his distinguished career, Colonel Fink has been awarded 2 NASA Distinguished Service Medals and 3 NASA Spaceflight Medals. He is also the recipient of the first International Space Station Leadership Award, as well as the Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, and Meritorious Service Medals, among others, for his military service, including the test pilot school programs. Colonel Fink retired from the Air Force in 2011 and is currently a civilian NASA astronaut. He is married to Renita Saikia Fink, and together they have 3 teen children, son Chandra and daughters Tarali and Surya. Colonel Fink enjoys spending time with his family, travel, geology, astronomy, learning new languages, reading, sharing the adventures of spacecraft, and helping to build a better future on planet Earth. Please give a warm and welcoming aloha to Colonel Fink.
Thank you, Alyssa, and to Reverend Blaine and Minasan, everybody in the congregation Gasho. And thank you for having me again. It's a huge honor, and there was joy in my heart was seeing everybody's faces, even though we're wearing masks today. to see everybody again. I wish I could be there in person with you, but maybe next time. In the meantime, thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you for the chance to talk a little and celebrate today. It's a tough day for all of us, and but we are sharing it together, and knowing that there is a legacy that Claude, yes, and Ellison Onizuka have left. I'd like to share my screen now. Let's hope that it works. It should, and um, and I hope everybody can see it in just a few seconds. And could I hear some clapping or a yes or something if the screen is now coming true? Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to make it to the full screen, and today we could talk about the Ellison Onizuka's legacy, and it's a huge honor again for me to share some thoughts on what Ellison's sacrifice and his heroism has made to all of us. And I put this particular slide together this morning, and this is the Space Shuttle Challenger Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery. And this was 38 years ago today when the Space Shuttle Challenger, it's hard to even say, it broke apart 73 seconds into the flight. Everybody passed away, hopefully to the Pure Land. The spacecraft disintegrated 46,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean. And I looked at the time when I was putting this together, and it was exactly at 11:39 standard time. So exactly 38 years ago when I looked at my watch, and I remembered very vividly where I was on that day. 38 years ago, I was a freshman in college, and I knew I'd wanted to be an astronaut, and I was a big fan of NASA, and I did not even start to watch this launch because at that point, NASA, everybody was just a regular thing to launch space shuttles every couple weeks. That was a fantastic thing, and NASA never had any problems. NASA was unfailable. So I was up the night before, very late, watching the some images come in from the planet Uranus when the Voyager spacecraft flew by, and I was some of the first people to see this new planet in front of us. And so I was very tired, and my friend ran into the dorm room, and said the space shuttle blew up. And I thought I couldn't even believe it. And I know that all of you can remember where you were on this day. Those of us who were alive and on this planet, and how it's still unbelievable that this had happened. And again, we remember Ellison and his crewmates that were doing something to make this world a better place. And we love to see pictures of Ellison. I never met him, but I understand he had a good sense of humor, and I know maybe I'm carrying some of that along. Maybe not good enough, but I do my best. And his legacy is going to help us get to the moon and beyond. And as we go from a space shuttle program to this new Artemis program with new big rockets, Ellison has helped us and will continue to help us to be there. And it's an amazing thing what he did. Alyssa was so kind to read my biography, but if it's anything, it was because I was following in the Onizuka footsteps, and what Ellison did and helped pave the way for more people to be able to fly into space, and so it wasn't just these test pilots, short white men, but that many people, different kinds of people, all of us could go to space, and we all did when Ellison flew. And you can see the newest class of 2021, and their shiny, happy faces, and the joy that they have to look forward in front of them. And but you can also see that there's more representative of who we all are. And I think you know the story of Ellison Onizuka. and his family, and it's a big honor for me to know any of them. And I know that 38 years ago, as a freshman in college, that I wouldn't imagine that I would be here with his family, his ohana, his people, and in his temple. So thank you. Ellison has inspired us and continues to do so, and takes a team for that. But Ellison, when he was with us, he always made sure to come back home and to share his adventures, to show everybody that that he was that we are all special and that we all can achieve our dreams. And he did that in such a humble and way, but yet it was so inspirational. And he inspired so many people, and continues to do so. And his family and his friends and the community supports this, so that every year that even though Ellison can't come and talk, we bring an astronaut to share and to inspire the next generations of explorers, and to let everyone know that they too can achieve their dreams. And so I want to say thank you to everybody, because this is something very important. I've been around the world, literally in orbit, but also at many different places. And there's something very special about the family, the Ohana, the community in Kona. And so thank you very much, because something was taken away from you, and yet you're giving back to everyone. And it is indeed everyone. And I know that every time I leave the country or my family, I have Ellison and his words to come with us in the passport. And I remind all of my friends, said, "Hey, every generation has the obligation to free men's minds and look to to new worlds, and to look out from a higher plateau than the last generation." And they said, "Oh yeah, you're so smart." And I, no, those are Ellison's words, not mine. So every year when I have a chance to spend time with you, I'd like to I share what NASA has done in the past year. It's 2024 now, but let's talk a little bit about the space program and some of the legacy of Onizuka and his crewmates. So I'm going to play this video. It should come through. It's on YouTube, and I'll put on the closed captions in case the audio isn't perfect. So here we go.
NASA does big things.
Oh.
Things that inspire us, things that unite us, things that show nothing is beyond our reach.
We are just getting started in terms of the scientific return from this telescope.
Liftoff of Psyche on a mission to a metal asteroid in deep space.
We're united by deep space exploration. Now we go with our friends and neighbors. We want to protect our planet by better understanding. This aircraft will make commercial airliners much more fuel efficient. This edifice in space, incredible feat.
There's these amazing experiments that send up to the space station on behalf of research centers throughout the world.
Have a new NASA website. It's like a mission control center with all the data there. Go back to the moon to live, work, develop, innovate, to go to Mars. The mission to the moon will launch 4 pioneers. May I introduce them to you all? Ladies and gentlemen, your Artemis 2 crew. This is the power of our space program. It unites people. It brings them together. Together, we are going to the moon, to Mars, and beyond.
And additionally, even though I'm a NASA guy and have been NASA for half of my life, it's not only NASA that's going to space. In 2023 and 2024, there's been a change, a slight change, or starting to become a bigger change on how we go to space and who goes to space and where we go. And some of the things are not NASA, even though NASA helped along the way with the money and knowledge. We're helping others. For example, in our country, we have this company called SpaceX, and they are building their own huge rocket that's going to be able to go to the moon and beyond. And this is the same guy, Elon Musk, who makes the Teslas and these other companies. But SpaceX has a smaller rocket that we send people on and cargo to the space station. And Elon's using some of the gains, the money that he's earned from that to build something new. And it's going to be spectacular. Of course, it's imperfect, and the first two blew up, but they're making great progress. And this is not really a NASA program. Other countries are going to places too, like India. They had a successful lunar lander called Chandrayaan number 3, and that's a picture. It had a small rover on it that took a picture of the lander. And then over here, this is just fresh from a few days ago. Japan had a mission, a moon lander on the moon, and they called it SLIM. And it's I don't know the acronym, but the lander had a robot, little rover on it, and the rover took a picture. And they were wondering why the lander was not able to generate any solar power. It had to work off of its batteries. Well, it turns out something happened, and it landed upside down. So you can see the lander is upside down. But nonetheless, it still was able to function and work, and that's a great success. And there are some unfortunate attempts along the way that you might have heard of. The Russians, for the first time since Soviet Union, tried to land on the moon, and it didn't work for them. They had a problem on the way. This company from my hometown in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they sent up a lunar lander, but one of its fuel tanks had a leak in it, and it didn't have enough energy, enough gas to land on the moon. So it's not easy what we do, and this is just with robotics. So you can see that where things are changing from the standard way where NASA does everything to different ways of getting to the moon, and there's going to be more people flying in space. And this is a dream that many of us have, and more dreams are going to be able to come true as we pioneer. In the meantime, it means more jobs and more opportunities for everyone. And of course, you heard my boss's boss's boss, the administrator, talk about Orion and Gateway and the Space Launch System and going to the moon. One thing he didn't mention is that later this year, the spacecraft that I've been working on for the past 7 or 8 years, a long time. I guess I could have been a doctor, huh? But instead, I helped build this spacecraft called Starliner, and it's going to launch off the Space Force launch pad in Florida. And my two friends, Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore, are going to go launch, and I'll be on the crew right behind them a year later in 2025 to go to the space station again. And who knows, maybe then one of the next times, if Alyssa is giving my present, telling you a little bit about me, I won't be sixth anymore. Maybe I'll be first, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's first. It matters that we go together as a team. So as my exit from the stage for now, I want to every year I kind of go we review a few things that I've learned very meaningful to me. And it comes from the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii. I think any of you have been to Honolulu, you know where to find it. And what a great place it is. And yeah, I don't look very Japanese, but I learned so much, and these are values that are all of human, but the kachikan values really are special for Japanese culture, and the way that they've taken it and explained it to everybody that we can understand. And today, every year I kind of go over two different ones, but this year I'd like to talk a little bit about gisei, right? Sacrifice. And in our hearts today, we are very sad because Ellison left us and his crewmates. But the sacrifice, he made the sacrifice, and it's something of value for the sake of a higher goal. And what can be better than a higher goal than to make this world and humans, a better place? And we should all take hokuri, pride in that, because it's a time of glory and triumph. And we should, and Alyssa even said this right at the beginning, so we should be, the community is very proud of Ellison Onizuka and his accomplishments and what his legacy is. So today I was thinking in my heart about Gisei and the pride that I have in Ellison and his Okana, his people, all of you. So this is Ellison and his crewmates. They were very happy, and then 38 years ago, they went away to a higher place. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, with my hands together and with a humble bow, I just want to say thank you, and today, and remembering Ellison Onizuka and the legacy, and what it means to not just the Kona area, but to the rest of the world. And I say thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel Fink. Your talks about space are always so fascinating. Does anyone have any questions for Colonel Fink?
Morning, Colonel Fink. I was just curious to know, for your next mission, when are you expected to launch, and how long will you be at the space station?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. And I would like to say that, yes, I've been waiting a long time to go fly again, but I've been putting in my effort and time and my skills and talents to help the team. And so I'm looking forward to maybe next year in April of 2025 to fly again. And it will be for a 6-month mission to the International Space Station. I'll be the pilot. We'll have a commander of the spacecraft of the Starliner, a Navy guy named Scott Tingle. We'll have a Canadian guy on his first flight, Josh Kutrick, and then we'll have a Japanese astronaut to be named at a later date. And it's a great crew, and I think Ellison would agree that it's not when you fly, but with whom you fly. And so I know that my crewmates and I will do a great job, along with the crews that are going to be aboard the space station flying up and down on Soyuz. And we're honored to have the first operational mission of Starliner. And I'm honored to get another 6 months in space. I know my wife Renita is anxious for me to go fly again, and for a long time. So this will be good. But she'll be happy to see me, I hope, when I get back.
A related question: you're going up with that Starliner? How do you return?
Yes. Starliner is amazing spacecraft. It's brand new, and it doesn't have wings and wheels like the space shuttle did. But unlike a lot of other spacecraft that you see, like Orion and these SpaceX guys on Dragon, they land in the water for a splashdown. We're planning on landing on land in New Mexico, and we have airbags and 3 parachutes, and we are ready to land. And it's very nice to land in New Mexico because it's not too far from Texas. So just a few hours after we land, the doctors will check us out. We'll fly back to Houston, and we'll get to see our families again. So I'm looking forward to that, and it would be kind of nice. So if we had a little bit more land there in Kona, maybe we could try to land in Kona and have a big celebration when I get back, huh?
So is this the very first landing of this type for the spacecraft?
Yes,
Done it before?
we've done it twice with no people inside, two uncrewed missions, and then my friends Butch and Sunny, they will go up this April, and they will go up and spend a few days aboard space station, something like maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then they will come back and test it out and land in New Mexico. In fact, I was just with them a few days ago, and we looked at our landing sites. And in White Sands, New Mexico, it's very flat. The sand is nice and soft, and there aren't very many winds, so it's perfect for to land a spacecraft.
Okay, thank you. Here is Brennan.
How do you guys fix stuff on the aircraft?
Hi, Brennan. Nice to hear you. Yes, that's the nature of the business that Ellison Onizuka and myself and many other astronauts, but not all of us, but we are specialists in testing out and helping to identify problems and fixes for both airplanes and spaceships. And so we've been working on our Starliner spaceship for extra time to make sure we fix everything. And one of the biggest troubles we had was with our software. And turns out that programming computers isn't as easy as you might think. So we at NASA, we need lots of people and the space program, people that can do lots of things, like building things, making things, and programming things on computers. All of these skills are very valuable, and hopefully you or some of your friends can help us out as you get older.
Colonel Fink, this is Reverend Blaine. Thank you again for joining us. I had a question. This return to the moon by various agencies and governments, and what's behind this idea of returning back to the moon? What's inspired that?
Reverend Blaine, always very nice to hear your voice, and thank you again for letting me be with you all today. The moon is very inspirational, and to be honest, I think we really want to go to Mars, but we are very smart not to go straight to Mars right away. We don't have the technology, the experience, and the money, to be honest. But going to the moon, we can learn lots of really good things about how to live and work in space. So initially, we had people go into space and they were on short missions. We had people that went to the moon, they just visited. And any of you who have been to a different country, you know there's a big difference between just visiting and actually having to live there. And certainly my eyes were opened when I lived and worked in Japan for a while before I became an astronaut. I knew it's not the same thing as just visiting. And the same thing for the moon is that this time when we go back to the moon, we're planning on staying there, using the resources of the moon, understanding what it's like to live far away from home. We've learned a lot how to live in space. Like my friend Frank Rubio just spent a whole year up there, so we know how to live in space, but that's weightless and it's so close to home. We now need to learn how to live on a reduced gravity planet, how to use the local resources. There aren't any trees or coal or uranium or something like that to give us power. So we have to figure out how to manage solar power, how to manage the dust, how to have a transport system to send food and experiments back and forth. And once we get that base and understanding of technology and getting really used to it, then we're going to attempt to go to Mars, and that could happen, Reverend, in your time, your lifetime and mine. And I bet you there will be a person from Hawaii on some of those missions, and that's a good thing.
Hello, Colonel Fink. This is George. Thank you for speaking to us today. I was curious, when you're in orbit and you're not working on repairing the computer systems and all the mechanical things that can go wrong, what are you thinking about? Do you have time to really contemplate where you are and being present in the moment with what's going on around you, and even thinking about your own mortality or fear, whatever it might be?
Hello, George, and what an insightful question. And especially since we're at the temple today, I'd like to share something a little bit personal in in the nature of and intent of that question. So first off, yes, when we're if we're just like, I don't say just, that's not the right word, but when you're on a shuttle mission or a short mission, you don't have a lot of time to reflect. You go up and do your job. You try very hard to not make any mistakes and to do your very best. And then you come back home and it's you get back in line to try it again. But when you're up there for a long time, you do get some time off. They try to give us 1 day a week off. Some they say they call it two, but it really turns out to be one. And so it's usually like on a Sunday, like today, and you sit aboard the space station. You don't have very much any tasks to do. Maybe you do some exercise because that's good for you. Maybe you watch a movie with your friends, or maybe you call your friends back on planet Earth. I think I interrupted Claude's backswing once on the golf course when I called him, but he wasn't mad at me. But you also have a chance to sit in the and look out the window and think about where you are and what you're doing. And to be honest, it's just an amazing thing, our planet Earth. As a planetary scientist, if you would have asked me in 1996 when I first became astronaut what my favorite planet was, I would have said Mars or maybe the moon. Even though the moon isn't really a planet, it's like a planet. But now my favorite planet is planet Earth, and it's something very special. And I also realized that there's a lot of people on planet Earth, and we're kind of fighting each other. We're not getting along. There's no harmony among humans, and this is sad. This is really sad. We should be working together as brothers and sisters. This is what I'm thinking. As brothers and sisters, we should be kind to each other. The things that the Lord Buddha teaches us are universal. These are what it means to be human and to work together and to go explore this whole universe. We are so tiny, and we're just fighting over little pieces of land or just what somebody said to us or what we think they believe, when we could be going to the whole universe out and exploring that's out there, and we can do it in harmony and not having to fight along the way. And this is what I think. And so when I'm here on back on planet Earth, I try to share my ideas and thoughts. And there's a book out there, I haven't read it, but it's called The Overview Effect, and how being in space and looking at planet Earth from above and seeing the beauty of our home, it helps, it changes everybody. There's nobody up there that is changed. To be honest, I'm not a very emotional person or talk about spirituality very much, but once I was up there, I think my heart changed a bit, and I started to think about who we are and why we shouldn't be fighting and why we should be working together. So this overview effect is a real thing, certainly for my crewmates and everybody that I've talked to, and it can't help but change a person. So thank you for bringing that up today. I think that's a very good thing to talk, and I do think it's one of Ellison Onizuka's legacy points for sure.
Thank you. I think we have one more question.
Is the food good up there?
Ah, you want to hear some stories about space food? Yeah, this food is not too bad. First off, I usually answer that question saying, yeah, space food is better than no food. Yeah, but one of the reasons why space food is so good is because we take a piece of Hawaii with us. We take Kona with us to space. And what does that mean? That means up in space, the best snack that they give us are mac nuts, macadamia nuts, and they come from Kona. And then we also get the Kona coffee to drink every morning. And it was because of Ellison. He said, no, you guys need some of the stuff, the real good stuff. And NASA said, sure, you're a new guy from on the space shuttle. We need to make all these new menus. Yeah, give us some ideas. And then to this day, 40 years later, that we still take food not just from Hawaii but from Kona itself up into space with us. And that's what makes the difference. That's what makes it a little bit better. Yeah, the food isn't perfect. It was all manufactured a year or two in advance. There's no freezing. We have freeze dried food. We have things that are like MREs that the army people eat. The military guys and gals, they eat MREs. We have something like that. Those aboard. Sometimes the Russians bring up some food in cans. Some of my favorites, and I'm so glad to be having a Japanese crew member, is because the Japanese make the best rice. Because the Americans, when they make the rice in space, it all floats everywhere because it's not sticky. But we make the sticky rice, or the Japanese, and you just add the very hot water and wait for 5 or 10 minutes, and then you have the perfect rice. And of course, the space station is civilized, and we have some chopsticks. So every day, gohan arimasu. We have gohan every day, rice, and then that makes me feel happy. So the food's not too bad. They don't have poke. We need to get poke in space. That'll be good.
Thank you again, Colonel Fink, for your awesome presentation and keeping us updated on the latest in space explorations. We are so grateful to have a NASA astronaut's presence at this annual memorial service. Mrs. Susan Takayue will now lead us in unison reading of Our Pledge. Words can be found on the handouts and on your screen. Please recite the words out loud with her.
Our pledge. Reaching out to others, I will share a smile and gentle words, just like the Buddha who always calls out with aloha. Breaking away from my greed, anger, and ignorance, I will try to live in peace and harmony, just like the Buddha who shares tranquility and kindness with all. Moving forward from self-centeredness, I will share a life of joy and sorrow with others, just like the Buddha whose caring heart always embraces us. Realizing that I live because of others, I will strive to live life to the fullest with an attitude of gratitude, just like the Buddha who promises to embrace us all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Mrs. Takayue. Reverend Blaine will now offer a short Dharma reflection.
Namandab, 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 namandab. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and a big mahalo to Colonel Fink for joining us again this year. We're truly grateful for you for sharing your experiences and insights into space exploration and the hope it offers our often troubled world. So when we look at the night sky, we see lights in the vast darkness of space. Through our imagination, we have drawn connections between the stars to create constellations, which resemble an object, an animal, or a person. Now, cultures around the world have had different names and numbers of constellations depending on what people thought they saw. It is said that today there are 88 officially recognized constellations. There's great power and potential in the realm of the imagination. Every achievement and advancement begins with a simple idea, which is inspired by a sense of wonder, of curiosity, or a sense of responsibility for solving a problem. It takes imagination to see how profoundly connected we truly are. In our world today, it has become so difficult to see our connections to each other. the numerous wars and conflicts around the world and the deep political divides, which has led to hatred and violence here in our country, are a result of this loss of imagination to see how we are connected in the vast constellation of life. Gomonshu Koju no Tani, the spiritual head of the Nishi Honganji, shares in his book, Moving Forward Just as You Are, Living in These Uncertain Times, reflects on how it is our responsibility for imagining and creating a more peaceful world. Our country and society is made up of each of us. We must not forget that its condition is based on how each and every member of our society and country lives. A family may consist of only 2, 3, or perhaps 4 people, but when others look at the family, each of the family members' way of living reflects on all of them. In terms of a school or workplace where there are more people involved, the sense or feel we might get from those various places is different, making them unique from one another. That difference is not made so much from the various institutions themselves as it is more about how each of the individuals in those groups thinks or acts. Based on how and what each person thinks, the world changes. Based on how what each person thinks, the world changes. It does not matter how big of a group one may be part of. When we think about this in terms of world peace, then if each person does not think that this issue is a matter involving his or her own way of thinking, then the problem gets passed on and nothing will ever change. Is it okay for the responsibility to get passed on without doing anything about it? I believe there is still much work that needs to be done. In the Buddhist tradition, there is a spiritual concept of Indra's net, which describes our universe as a vast cosmic net, and at each knot in the net is a jewel which emits light and reflects the light of all other jewels surrounding it. This beautiful image is said to represent our interconnected lives, where each of us is a jewel, and what we do matters and affects the lives of those around us. This also teaches us how we are responsible for cleaning and polishing our jewel, our heart, our mind, so we can share that light with others. I can't help but to think about Ellison's words, right, to future generations, right, that we are responsible for creating the future. We are responsible for envisioning a world that is better than the one that we inherited, right? That is our simple task, but yet the hardest thing for us to do. That's what all of our traditions, all of our spiritual traditions ask us to do, is to imagine and to envision a world that is better than what we are living in currently, that we can make a difference, that we can be a little bit better each and every day. And so whether we journey to the stars or into our own hearts and minds, we should always strive to live with this sense of curiosity and wonder and responsibility. This is what Ellison Onizuka continues to teach us all these many years since his birth in the Pure Land. Like the constellations we see in the night sky, can we imagine the profound connections between us and live with a sense of responsibility for polishing our jewel so that our world is made just a little bit brighter and more beautiful? Maybe the spiritual truth of our interconnectedness is the ultimate lesson in studying the stars. Thank you again for being here. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Blaine. We will now have the offertory presentation. Thank you for your generosity, everyone. Please rise and let's conclude the service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu.
Namandam, 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 namandam.
Please be seated. This concludes the 38th annual memorial service for NASA astronaut Colonel Ellison Onizuka and the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger. Here are a few announcements. Upcoming services, events, and reminders. Next Sunday, February 4th at 10 a.m., we will observe Nirvana Day service or Shakyamuni Buddha's memorial service. In-person guest speaker will be Bishop Clark Watanabe of the Shingon Mission of Hawaii. Regular Dharma family service will be held on Sunday, February 11 at 10 a.m. Sunday, February 18th will be the annual Kyodan membership meeting. At 10 a.m., we will start with a short service in remembrance of Sangha members who passed away last year, welcome new members, and honor our Keirokai members who have reached the age of 80. The membership meeting will occur after the service, which will be followed by a New Year's luncheon with Ono food, fellowship, and lots of prize giveaways. To get a good head count for lunch, please register by Friday, February 9th by calling the office or clicking on the link and filling out the simple online form which was included in Reverend Blaine's email this past Friday. The 2024 Gatha Fest will be held on Sunday, February 25 at Hilo Betsuin at 9:30 a.m. It is an annual sharing of Gathas by most temples on the Big Island. Kona Hongwanji Sangha will participate, and we will soon begin practicing our song during our temple services. Darren Katayama has written Dharma lyrics to John Cruise's Island Style song, and our presentation will be accompanied by anyone wishing to play the ukulele. Please Please pick up printed information available at the front table. Also, a sign-up sheet for transportation will be circulated. Anyone wishing to attend, please be sure to sign up so transportation arrangements can be made. Reminders: be sure to open, read, and click on any attachments and interesting as well as useful links that were included with Reverend Blaine's weekly update email sent this past Friday. If you have not done so yet, please pick up your pre-ordered 2024 Hompa Hongwanji Mission of Hawaii calendar at the church office. Extras are available. Free COVID test kits are still available in the conference room. Are there any other announcements? Okay. In closing, we'd like to express a very big thank you to NASA astronaut Colonel Fincke for being our special guest speaker today. We are so privileged to have been able to listen and learn from your presentation. Please stay safe in all your future space adventures. Mahalo also to Claude Onizuka for making the arrangements with Colonel Fincke. To members of the Onizuka family who have joined us today, you have added a special touch to this service for which we are sincerely grateful. Those of you on Zoom may leave at any time. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the social hall. Mahalo to Lynn Katayama, Lisa Siriaco, and anyone else who brought goodies to share. Thank you all for joining us. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you at future services.
And great job, Alyssa, for being our MC this morning. So. Again, mahalo, Mike. Thank you for joining us.